Oh, Nintendo. Look, I ain't mad, I'm just disappointed. Not too long ago, I praised Nintendo for picking and choosing really good independent games to appear on the Switch. It had a really nice curated storefront. I also praised the Nintendo eShop for mostly being free of microtransaction-led, exploitative, predatory bollocks. But the recent release of a game called MUJO on the Switch has undermined that praise a little bit, for MUJO is bollocks. I'm showing you MUJO right now, and it's in the aspect ratio you're looking at right now because I took this footage from my iPhone. I'm not buying it on Switch because, first of all, you have to buy it on Switch. On the mobile platform, it doesn't cost a bloody thing because this is a free-to-play game. A free-to-play game that costs $9.99 on Switch because of course. And if you think that costing $9.99 would do away with the microtransactions, you ain't been looking at the game industry very long, bucko. Oh, they're all there. The game is governed by things called lightnings, which is basically the shittiest name for a microtransaction currency you could come up with. In this shitty, and I do mean fucking shitty, block-matching puzzle game in which you're fighting with Greek gods and shit, you use lightnings to destroy blocks or open treasure chests that give you new characters that fight on your side and give you advantages. Yes, MUJO has taken a page from the Electronic Arts playbook, although to be fair, it was the mobile playbook first, so really MUJO's just taking it back. Even worse, when the game launched on Switch, for $9.99 as opposed to it being free on mobile, the microtransactions were actually more expensive. On mobile, you could buy 5 lightnings for 99 cents, but on Switch they cost $1.65. And it all went up from there. 20 lightnings, $5.25, 45 lightnings, $8.25, 120 lightnings, $16.50, all the way up to 720 lightnings for $79.50. As you can see from the screenshot I've been showing you, that's a little bit of a discrepancy compared to the version you could play on your phone. That was the state of play just last night before I went to bed. When I fired up my Switch this morning to get a screenshot of the eShop page of DLC, it seems that developer Oink Games, there's a fitting moniker, made an update to the store and reverted the prices, so now they're actually in line with the mobile version. But at launch, these cheeky little fuckers tried to get away with much, much more. A considerable markup on top of a game that, again, let me remind you, is free on mobile, but $10 on console. MUJO, of course, isn't the first free mobile game to try and go premium in its lifetime, but the fact that it's on Switch makes it extra disappointing, and often when a free mobile game tries to go premium, they'll do something to make up for it. It'll be more fleshed out, they'll take out the microtransactions, or they'll do something to justify charging $10 or so for something that you can get on your phone for free. Unless it's a game released on Steam, of course, in which case they will just take a free-to-play mobile game and whack it up there with an arbitrary price tag, because hey, we're not on mobile now, I bet we can trick some people into spending money. Now, like I said, I wasn't going to debase myself by spending $10 on this horrible cash grab, but someone on the unofficial Jim Sterling subreddit did. The poor fuck, and let's just have a look at their reports. For a start, they say it's more predatory than Star Wars Battlefront 2's original incarnation, and I can certainly say from my experience on the mobile version, they really do hammer those pay-to-win fucking microtransactions home. According to Simon Quee here, it's also an incredibly shit port where they didn't even bother changing how the screen looks on the Switch, so it just looks like a mobile game. Well, I mean, I imagine it looks like this, the footage you're looking at here. In their words, the port is so lazy and shit that the entire game is presented in the original portrait mobile aspect ratio on the landscape Switch screen, with no option of switching the display, so you're stuck with the worst letterbox I've ever seen in any video game ever. Fair enough, right? Why bother? I mean, if you're charging a $10 markup on a free game, you might as well just not bother optimizing it for the console you're charging a premium for, eh? Why bother? That would take work. Possibly even cost money. And you're not here to spend money, you're here to rake it in. Again, typically if a mobile game wants to make the move to console, the good ones will make some effort, some concession, some justification for doing it. Here, the only justification seems to be, Well, the Switch has a touchscreen, and we have a touch-based gameplay mechanic. Let's whack $10 on and see how much we can get away with. Because we are cynical, and we are lazy, and we want money for fucking nothing. Returning to Simon Quee's report, one of the early in-game character upgrades costs 100 lightnings, which costs almost the same amount as the game, as the closest pack is 120 lightnings, which costs $16.50. That may of course been before they updated the microtransactions, but the point is, it costs a lot just to get some early fucking upgrades. Returning to Mr. Quee's post, without these upgrades, the game is as slow and painful as a cactus being dragged through horse shit, and again, I can confirm, not the cactus through horseshit. I don't even know why horseshit's feeling pain. But I can confirm that the version of MUJO, I keep forgetting the name even, it's such a horrible name. The gameplay in MUJO that I played, not paying for any microtransactions, was sluggish and it felt like a waste of time. It's the block matching puzzle game equivalent of trying to climb a mountain in Breath of the Wild while it's raining. A pointless uphill struggle that slaps you back down, except of course in this case they're slapping you back down as punishment for not giving them money. And again, in a free-to-play game, yeah, alright, I mean, be scummy if you want. I will still think you're scum, but I'm probably not going to reach for the torches and the pitchforks. There's just too many of you on mobile. You and your scumbag ilk have rendered it mostly a complete friggin' write-off by now. But then you bring it over to Switch, which again, I only recently praised for not falling for shit like this. You bring it over to Switch, you charge $10 for it, you don't even bother to do anything but the laziest, most slapdash hack job port effort, and it's still a grindy microtransaction-fueled fuckfeast. And I started this video by expressing disappointment with Nintendo specifically. Now, as I often say, don't get me wrong, the majority of my blame, the majority of the ire here goes strictly to MUJO and Oink Games for being such a lazy slapdash, greedy piece of shite. But Nintendo, come on, you're better than this. You're better than this kind of fucking shit. I mean, what next? Are you gonna put Life of Black fucking Tiger on your store? You're better than that. And with major publishers like Warner Brothers Interactive and 2K Games and EA already taking far too much influence from the mobile game market, the last thing we need is for the mobile games themselves, the vector of the fucking disease, spraying its muck directly all over console storefronts. With Nintendo being more cherry-picky and having a bit more of a vetting process, I'm curious as all hell how Oink Games managed to get this slimy microtransaction magnet onto the store in the first place. And again, I'm sorry if it sounds gatekeepy, but I don't think it has a place there. It has a place in the world. As I've always said, these shitty games, these greedy games, they've all got a right to exist. They've got a right to find a home somewhere, but a game like MUJO already found its home. It's called the App Store, and it's where cynical cash grab fuckers like you belong. In the dirt, in the muck, with the rest of your ravenous vulturine brethren. Thankfully, it doesn't look like MUJO's selling very well on Switch, and why would it? Why would you pay $10 for something that you can buy on mobile and basically have the exact same fucking experience? Why would you do that? To have it on the Switch? There are a dozen better games you can have on the Switch. It feels like this is on there just to get a couple of sales, and hopefully get some of those people hooked enough that they become the much wanted whales and then just keep pouring and pumping money into it. But let me assure you, having played what I could stand to play of MUJO, it's not even worth it for the hungriest, wealthiest whale. And when you can't even offer something for the whales to get their teeth into, you really have made a fucking awful game, mate. So to summarise, Oink Games took a free-to-play game on mobile, put it on Switch, charged $10, initially charged even more for the microtransactions than it charged on mobile, but nonetheless continues to offer a free-to-play game with free-to-play mechanics revolving entirely around microtransactions that are still in this game intact. And just in case I haven't made it clear by now, they're charging $10 for it on Switch while it was free on mobile for the simple fact that they thought they could get away with it. And if that's not a pure, uncut, snort it and get high off your tits example of blatant, outright, shameless cynicism, I don't know what fucking is. Fucking MUJO.